right, so yeah, the show's starting. Look, if I don't start the show now, it's never gonna happen. Uh, for those who missed the exciting beginning of the show, I blew Telusma FaceTime my co-host sitting outside my Los Angeles casita with the fire trucks approaching because of me. I've been in LA for 12 hours and already had to call 911 because someone who was somebody said, Blue, your background is blurred. Well, child, Jeffrey, you know when you text me, everybody hear it, right? Because it's
I ain't hear it.
oh my heavens. Okay. Let me unblur it. You couldn't have told me this before I started
I just
recording.
saw it and you were talking. I didn't want
Well,
to
I mean,
interrupt.
you still interrupting, friend. You know what? Okay, background's
You
not
didn't
blurred
have
now.
to acknowledge it. You just see it getting
No,
me.
this is a raw show. It's humanized, okay? It's human beings talking shit. And not in the middle of the intro. At least wait till Lulu's talking. All right, so we're back, guys. We're all here. I called Lulu and Jeff sitting on my porch because I was gone for 2 weeks and the gas was left on the lowest setting at 1, but it was left on for 2 weeks. And I Googled, hey, be careful, don't open the windows yet until they come and check the toxic levels because you might blow up your house. As a Black person, I heard blow up your house and I ran out. No bra on, just sat on the porch. The fireman got an eye full. You guys, it was a lot. I just ran out
Well,
and
good.
well, good. What you mean?
Maybe sure you did a thorough job because you had them titties out.
You know what, Jeffrey?
Telling
I don't
you.
need you co-signing with your face. So they came in and they looked around and then they said, okay, it's not toxic. And they cracked open all the windows. I had to close the doors because I don't want anybody to roll up on me and get hemmed up on live broadcast. But the house is airing out. If I seem a little lightheaded, it's because there was toxic gas flow. And here's the thing, Lamar, shout out to my older sister Lamar, who checks my mail 3 times a week. The house smelled like ass, and he just thinks it's what my house smells like. Like I
I
walked
mean,
in, like, why does
when
my house that usually smells like roses and clean linen smell like ass? Lamar
well,
did not say anything the entire week. He was checking back with me about my mail.
I'm just glad that Lamar, you, the house cleaner, nobody decided, oh, the house smells like ass. Let me light a candle. I'm glad none of y'all did
Oh
that.
wow, okay. But you're okay with them thinking the house smells like ass. Blue
In
just
this
That's
told me.
better.
instance, in this
Yes.
instance, absolutely. Yes.
No,
Your
I
house
don't
That's
like
literally
better
that.
had
than everything
gas.
No,
blowing
no.
up.
I'm gonna text Lamar today and be like, "Hey, Lamar, my house smelled like ass all week, and you were in here. I just need you to know that's not how my house be smelling. You know that that was a gas leak.
I mean,
And the
but
next
just
time you smell
imagine you walking in there and just like, oh, the house smells a little funky. Let me light my candle.
I'm just mad. This man spent a week thinking my house smelled like ass. Is that wrong? I'm personally offended. I'm actually with my phone. I'm gonna text him while Lulu's talking. Y'all can hear that laugh again. Lulu has come back from witness protection.
Woo!
Lulu, explain yourself. Explain yourself. Everybody has questions. Explain yourself. Where have you been?
Well, I was in Tokyo. I went there for 8 days with my man, and it was lovely.
Yeah,
Tokyo is
we
an
told
amazing
on you.
place. It's
They know your man took you to Tokyo. Uh-huh.
it's very clean. Everyone is so nice. They do like you to be quiet. So one time I was on the train, I started laughing. Everybody was looking at me like
That laugh in Tokyo would get you arrested.
I know,
That
right?
for sure.
so how
You
did
got to
it
be
come
Because
careful.
about?
In China, it's illegal to argue, to have confrontation in public.
I love that.
Really?
In
Mhm.
Singapore, it's illegal to litter. Remember, there was a big case in the 90s. Somebody littered in Singapore and got sent to jail. It was like a big international fuss. Yeah,
Mm.
they're
I wouldn't
repressed.
be surprised if that's the same as Japan because place is really clean, but they also don't have any trash cans anywhere, which I find interesting. So you have to
Mm.
take your trash home and throw it away when you get
Mm.
there.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
that
it's so funny.
a lot.
I actually am like that here. I mean, obviously in America we do have trash cans on the streets and things like that. But when I have been in places like my biggest pet peeve is littering, and I mean even like gum wrappers, I would just
Your
stick it in my
biggest
pocket till I
pet
get
peeve
home.
of all the things that are wrong in the world is littering.
One of my biggest pet peeves is littering. Like it takes 10 seconds to just look for a trash can. And again, sometimes they're not there, but just take it. I don't like to litter. I'm sorry, it grinds my gears.
It grinds your gears. Okay,
It grinds
Grandma
my
Moses,
gears.
that's amazing. I will say
Look,
this
the
though.
planet is already about to
No,
convulse.
it was hot.
Implode.
Yeah, it was hot. My house almost imploded, so not too much on the implosion. No, it was hot in New York, and I heard it was cold in LA. Like global warming is real right now. Everything is like
Yeah.
off and
Very
backwards.
real.
It's been a little breezy. We're not in our usual. I've been here for 13 years, and these last few years, the weather has really decided it's like doing its own thing.
Really?
Yeah.
I've only been here 5 years, so I guess I just got the tail end of it. Lulu, how did it come about that you just like sent a text saying, by the way, I'm not gonna make it to work on Monday because I'm going to Japan? How did this come
Well,
about?
I was
Mhm.
planning on going. We had planned on going for a while. We had gotten a flight deal that they have flights for direct flights for 450, and so we was like, well,
Oh,
fuck it, let's just go. And we went. It was great.
where'd you guys stay?
We stayed at a couple different Airbnbs because he likes to hop around and stuff. So, or we stayed at a hotel one a couple nights, and then we stayed like at Airbnbs and stuff.
Was it
How are
It was
Tokyo
good.
romantic?
Airbnbs? Because when I went, I did hotels. I didn't do Airbnb.
They're small just because the people are small, everything is small. Like that's why we ended up getting a hotel because we were like, we're too big, we need some space.
And that's what I was
So
thinking. Because I mean, one of the few hotels that I did stay in, like I noticed, like everything over here is small, like tiny.
tiny,
I feel so
like
bad for fat Asians because they do exist.
In
Right?
America.
No,
I'm
no,
gonna say
no,
I see none
no, that
there.
you guys, fat Asians do exist in Asia. They have sumo wrestlers. I watch a lot of Japanese and Korean television, and there's always a random fat person. So they do exist. They just they don't cart them
They
out
make
often.
they make special accommodations over there because
Right.
they working for the economy.
Yeah, there's a show called Fall in Love Like a Television Drama where they get actors. It's like Top Model where they get female actors and male actors and they do different scenes together. And whoever wins each challenge gets to kiss in a scene and see if they have real chemistry. It's like a dating show versus like in a competition show at the same time. And one of the hosts,
Interesting.
it looks like a Lane Bryant model. And I'd be looking at her like, interesting. You a big
This is
bitch
a
Is
now.
Lane
Japanese
Bryant
show.
still around?
Yes, Lane and Bryant are both still.
Is Lane and Brian still around?
Lane and Bryant are still around. Y'all know how I
Yes.
feel about men who look like they can shop with Lane Bryant. That's not my ministry.
Uh,
No, nothing
That's
against
a-
the big boys. I just don't want to.
they go to Big Lots.
Is that real? We're being fat phobic. Y'all need to stop. Okay. As a resident big bitch, we will not keep slandering men
Girl,
with
you are getting smaller and smaller every time I see you on here.
Really, you can tell. I can't tell.
Yes,
That's
in your
true.
face,
Yeah.
like yes.
I can't tell. I've been traveling so much. You sure it's not
And
fatigue?
I saw you on that boat in your little outfit that was
You did look slim in
flowing.
that outfit. And I was like, okay, friend.
Oh, we're
I
going straight
said,
there.
bitch,
Okay.
Blue, are you at damn, now why is her name slipping
Bridget?
my Bridget, are you at Bridget's wedding or are you over there hanging out with Oprah? What's going on?
I
Right.
mean, the tax brackets were tax bracketing. I was the brokest bitch on that boat. Okay. Them motherfuckers had coins. Okay. I was the brokest person there. But no, it was lovely. It was a nice dress. It was very flattering. It was the first time I ever wore it. So I didn't try it on until I got there and the
You
bus
look
was
great.
outside. Thank you. It was a risk. Because I took it out, ripped the tag off, and they had to zip me up the dress as we were getting into the van to go to the boat. So I was like, thank God this worked.
Beyonce said, if you ain't got to jump to put jeans on, you don't feel her pain.
Yeah, I had to jump. I definitely had to jump. Well, since we're segueing to the bachelorette party that happened at the top of March, I almost got kidnapped by a young pirate.
Okay,
Tell us
Countess.
more.
One of the pirate Jeep drivers, Two-Tone Tony, he's probably gonna see this knowing my look. I don't
Oh.
care. He was very flirtatious. He probably just wanted to tip child, but he was very flirtatious, and they were making fun of me because they were like, "Blue, how old is he?" I was like, "I don't know. A cute man is talking to me. I don't care." They were like, "Blue, we think he's like 12." So we asked we asked Two-Tone Tony and his cohort, the other pirate who were driving us around, how they were. His name was Dark Chocolate. Dark Chocolate said he was 29. Two-Tone Tony said, "How old do you need me to be?" And that's when I was like, "Oh, you are a when your friend says 29 and you say, how old do you need me to be? There's laws against that in America." So I was like, "Oh no, I'm gonna sit in the back. I'm
I
gonna
mean,
sit in
was
the
he at least
back."
18?
No, he was at least
Yeah.
21. Like he could drink. He was drinking with
Well, on
us.
vacation, Stella, go on, have fun.
I am not
Right.
fucking a 21-year-old on
Why
vacation.
not?
If there's
Girl.
grass on the field, play ball.
Baby, you better get that back blown out. You was out there on vacation in your hot girl summer outfit. Blue, I need you to come back with a story for me.
I was wearing a see-through
Next
dress, so
time.
it could have just been I shouldn't wear see-through around young people. They get confused.
Baby, that would have been a
No,
story had you
that's the
came back sick.
opportunity.
I'm not having sex with the tour driver who's barely old enough to drink, guys. I
Was
have
he
to have a
cute?
limit. Yeah, he was attractive. But then the minute they told me he was 22, I started to realize he had braces. And I saw a pimple and I was like, "You're a child for real." Like, If I look past the jewelry, you are somebody's baby.
So
Whatever.
Y'all are a bad influence. Have you guys ever
You
had?
ever-
You see, look at both of your faces. I wish they could show all three of us. I said, "How you guys ever had?" And Lulu and Jeffrey both froze, like, bitch.
a 21-year-old, yes.
Oh my God. So you would sleep with a froggy 21-year-old on vacation?
On vacation, absolutely. No
Wow.
pun intended.
How about you, Lulu?
I probably would not. To
Really?
be honest.
And we're not
Yeah.
talking about currently
In a relationship, because
in
that's
a
called
relationship,
cheating.
Lutasha. We talking about back in the day when we was country hopping it, Lutasha.
Yeah. No, I don't really do vacation sex. Like, honestly, I really don't. So, like, this, it's just not my thing. But I
Really?
mean, I don't think there's anything. Yeah, I don't.
No, with
But
strangers, or you
I
mean
That's
vacation sex in
women,
general? Wait a minute, hold on for a second. Do you
like
mean
vacation
with strangers or with anybody?
with
Vacation sex.
strangers.
Oh,
strangers.
okay. So you don't do vacation booty calls, but you will have vacation sex with your partner.
Of course, yes.
Oh, I don't want to guess. The people got things. Okay, so Jeffrey, you clearly are for the streets, and you said you would do it.
I do. I think that is one of those men, women things. Of course, there are some women that absolutely will just be down to get down. But for men, a trip is not a trip unless it is some ass involved. Like,
Oh,
wow.
wow.
I think it was comedian Samore had a joke years ago about niggas went to Selma, Alabama, and because they got some ass down there, came back talking about how Selma, Alabama was lit. It was the best place in the world. They go somewhere and get no sex, and be like, child, this shit dry. Ain't nothing else. Don't want to go.
Just based on sex.
Based on sex, yeah. We're simple.
Oh God, the guy I was talking to mentioned that he was sleeping. He slept with people when he was in London. And I was looking at him like, "Why are you telling me this?" But to your point, men don't see a big deal telling you that they get their penises wet. Because
Yeah.
they
But also, the main reason why I never really did it is because, and I've said this before,
Oh, I'm nervous.
since I know, since I'm not, the orgasm is not guaranteed, I just don't really like, for men, you're gonna come. Like, it's for the most
Yeah.
part 95.
The wind
99.
That don't
blows.
always mean the orgasm is good. Sometimes it's very much like, I just want to get
But
out
at
of
least
here.
you're gonna
Okay.
have one. So like
Yeah.
sometimes like you won't have an orgasm and it's not good. So I literally probably wasted 25 minutes of my life or longer talking to you, pretending like I care about what you're saying. So it's like it's too
But
much
you
of a
got a good
crapshoot.
story. You got just a story to tell.
I
'Cause
got
listen,
so
when
many
you
stories.
when we are a good 80 plus years old and we sitting around with nieces and nephews, unless some of us have children, got grandchildren, they gonna think grandma, grandpa, uncle, auntie is lame and old. You old, you ain't did nothing. Baby, I can't wait to flip open my storybook to my nieces and
We
nephews.
already have enough stories, Jeffrey. If we did nothing else for the rest of our lives, the three of us already have enough stories.
Never end. I've got more.
Oh, you a hot mess. You a
I was
hot
just
ass mess.
speaking of stories, and I wasn't gonna bring it up. I'm gonna give a very edited version. I told Tasha, Blue, I fell out of a sex swing this past weekend.
What the fuck? Wait, whoa. Okay, we did not have pre-production because I just landed back in LA like 12 hours ago. What you mean you fell out of a sex swing? What kind of show is this? Welcome back to LA.
The short version of it, a friend of mine asked me to get in the sex swing. And so I'm like, sure, mind you, after edibles and smoking. So I'm like, sure, I can try this out. I got good balance. Let me see what happens. And I saw somebody else in it before me, and I'm just like, I'm still young. I can test this thing out. I did actually successfully get into the swing. But then, I'm a sturdy young man. I got a nice, decent set of legs. Baby, I was trying to put these legs up in the thing that hold it. So now I'm already, a little high because I had an edible. You know how sometimes like the room start kind of spinning, moving a little bit. So
vertigo, yes, old man.
That's what I thought was going on. What was actually happening, it was me slowly falling to the ground with this whole contraption.
Oh no. Did you have clothes on?
Yeah, I had on pieces of something.
Jeffrey, wait. You were ass naked in a sex swing busting your ass?
It wasn't for the purpose of, it was just to actually just get in the swing, just to say I got in the swing. It wasn't to actually.
But you weren't fully dressed, friend. When you are half naked and somebody says, "Hey, you want to get in the sex?" So you're like, "Wee." The things that are implied. I need you to understand.
I know there's things that are implied, but it was just more so to prove I could get in the damn swing. And yeah.
What happened after you bust your ass?
luckily,
Mhm.
as the swing was falling and pieces was coming apart and things like that, internally, all I said was, Jeffrey, do not
Commit.
scream.
Oh, you
Do
didn't
not
scream.
scream. Yeah, because then you're just gonna cause a lot of ruckus. Somebody grabbed my shoulder and
Oh, heavens.
said, I saw you falling and I didn't want to let you hit the ground. And they just like made sure I didn't fall. But baby, I watched this whole contraption in pieces and in shambles.
You fell out of a sex swing. That's what you've been up to since we last did the show. Lulu done ran off to fucking Tokyo with Master Splinter, and you busting your ass in sex swings with little pieces of fabric on your dick. Okay, well, this is great. This is a great catch up. I just feel, you know what's so interesting is that we always talk about our love lives and dating, and we're all in different places. I'm dating, Jeffrey's hoeing, Lulu's in a relationship. You know, 3 different phases of life.
I'm not hoeing. I am
Friend, you fell out of a sex swing.
I'm everyone's favorite side piece. That's what I am.
That is hoeing with a capital H. Like, okay, whatever. So we're in different spaces. It's so interesting to me though, because I think going to a bachelorette party makes me think about just what the ultimate goal is for those of us who are into having partnership. And I thought about weddings, right? Because I'm going to this destination wedding in Jamaica next month. Would you guys ever have a destination wedding? And what is your dream wedding scenario? Somebody's outside noise is loud. I can hear a bus. I can hear a truck. I can hear the voice of God.
It ain't me.
Maybe this window is open. So
Oh, that window is.
Go ahead, Jeff. Give him your.
It's after school. You know, Lou in the suburbs now.
Oh, right. I don't know how much we got to say, but Lou, I was married then. Lou's in a whole relationship, child. Look, she got books behind her. You a whole fucking grown up. Y'all say something, Lulu, so they can see the books. Say something.
Books and Monopoly.
This bitch is domesticated. Okay, she was for the streets just this time last year. Now look at her. Yeah. Okay, Jeffrey, you start. Like, would you ever do a destination wedding, and what is your dream wedding scenario?
Well, the wedding would be done at the courthouse, so
Mhm.
it wouldn't even be necessarily a wedding, but like the party, the celebration, absolutely, and it would be a beach situation. Everybody be comfortable. We not getting all white or dressed up or anything. We just gonna have a good time with vacation, DJ, friends.
Oh, I love that. How about you, Lulu?
I definitely want to do a destination wedding. I've been saying that for years and years mostly because my parents will probably try to invite 600 million thousand people. So that way the people who actually are there will be the actual people who made an effort to come. So I would 100%, it would definitely also the same as Jeff, like a beach somewhere. Like at first I used to always be like, oh, I don't really want bridesmaids, like maybe just my sister. But I've been a bridesmaid so many times. I feel like I have to punish these ladies who
Oh,
made me be
wow.
a bridesmaid. All of them. They need to do it.
Wow,
All
that's
of them.
not what I was expecting, but okay. Punish you.
All
bitches.
7.
Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot of bitches. I think
Yes.
I'm a hybrid of both of you guys. I would want to do if it was possible courthouse and then throw a big weekend where we throw a party for everybody and then we go on vacation. I'd rather spend the wedding money on vacation. The only exception would be if I was with somebody who was African or Indian, because they have very lavish traditional weddings and I wouldn't want to rob my partner of that. But unless you got tradition behind you, we going to the courthouse and throwing a party.
And
Because
unless you
I'd
have
rather
traditional coin to have those ceremonies.
Yeah, well, I don't want their parents to smite me like this bitch doesn't understand our tradition. I don't want to start
not smite you. She said, I want them to smite me.
Look, no, the Africans and the Indians.
Biblical terms.
My enemies have succeeded. Jeffrey, you're on mute. Look at that. That was God. God muted Jeffrey.
Right. Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you.
Oh, baby.
I do not want to be smited by anybody's abuela, their TT, their African auntie. I don't want none of that. So if we have to have one to keep the aunties happy, fine. But unless there's a tradition involved, I'm down with courthouse and spending all that money on a party and a vacation for us. That's my biggest thing. I think weddings are interesting. Wedding season is upon us. So you guys can be going to any weddings yet?
I was invited to one, but turned down the invitation.
Oh, scandalo. Why?
Very complicated situation.
Why is that?
Huh? You're in a podcast, friend. Keep talking.
Well, no, I don't want to put No, it's
Choose
I'll talk to y'all
words.
about it
You
offline.
right, brother.
Yeah, no, there's no take backsies. Okay, so you gotta choose words.
No, that's
Like,
not how it works.
Well,
find a
'cause,
way to
again,
clean
it's
it
not
up.
if it were my wedding, I would talk, but it's somebody else's wedding and relationship, and I
Nigga,
don't want
find a
to.
way to clean it up. Hide the people to protect the
Yes,
guilty.
you don't gotta say no names. You don't gotta say a
Yeah.
destination.
She fucked somebody's man. She a side piece.
No,
Right. You were the side piece.
You the side piece?
it's a friend of, well, I guess now a former friend
Oh.
that there's no way for me to tell the story without saying who the person is, and anybody that knows me will know who the person is. So, yeah.
This is our little show. Who watches our little show? Who listens to it?
Yeah.
Right,
So
no one's listening.
Then get the general issue. What's the general issue with you attending?
The general issue is the bride don't like me.
Oh,
Okay,
wow. That's
see, so you can say that.
a
Yeah,
great
okay.
to go to a fucking
Yeah,
wedding.
yeah. The bride don't like me.
Did you fuck somebody in any of the equation?
Nope, not at all. Nope.
Did you know that somebody else
Surprise,
fucked somebody?
surprise.
And
It ain't got nothing to do, nope.
Surprise, surprise.
Ain't nobody slept with nobody, no.
So
Right.
it's non-sexual scandal?
Non-sexuals, it's the dumbest thing. And at first I considered still going for the groom because just really close with the groom. But then it was just other things that came up, and I was just like, okay, yeah, I'm not gonna go. Yeah.
So wait a minute. The groom knows that his beloved can't stand you and still invited you?
Yeah, because it was very important for him that I be there. Because like we're really good, we're good friends. Yeah,
But the bride doesn't like you. Nah, ain't no way, ain't no fucking way. You invite somebody I don't fuck with to my wedding. Ain't no way.
Well, and my thing was just in the initial invitation, I did say, I was very honest. It was like, you know what, even though she don't like me, I was like, I do want to consider like the wedding. And I was joking. I was like, the wedding is all about the bride. As the groom, you're the supporting character. But ultimately, I don't ever want to be the reason that somebody looks back at what's supposed to be this most special day of their life and be mad. Like, I don't know if she gonna, while I'm at the wedding, is she gonna be sitting there talking shit with her bridesmaids, with the family, with anybody? And then I'm sitting there on the island by myself. And then it's out of the country. So also I'm like, they like to just turn around and go home. Like,
you got invited to a destination wedding for half the wedding party don't like you. That's some I'm sorry.
But again, once you know, that's because again, you kind of get pieces of it here on this podcast. Once we talk offline, you get all the details. I think you might understand a little bit more.
For the record, every single time that Jeffrey has said this for every single pod, he's never told me anything offline.
Not a single time, girl.
I do follow up. I mean, like, so
I be drinking. You got to follow up and remind me.
Yeah, not once on this podcast ever has he ever followed up with any of these stories. I am full of a bunch of open ends right now. The tabs are open, friend.
Well, yes, I have turned down my only wedding invite so far of the year.
Wow. Well, I think there's still an issue with somebody inviting someone to a wedding that the bride doesn't want there. Like, I wouldn't invite somebody that me and my partner didn't both want there because I strongly believe, and I got in trouble for saying this, but I'll say it again. I don't believe in showing up for a wedding unless you sincerely plan to be part of the village that supports the couple. So if I don't fuck with one of, well, she don't fuck with you. She don't want you in the village.
It's one-sided.
It's one-sided.
It's very one-sided. It's like very one-sided.
Is she nice to you or nasty, or does she pretend you don't exist?
At first was very like, I liked her. I was like, oh, she's great. Like, all of this. And I thought everything was cool. Like, we Insta and like each other's stories and all that stuff, follow. And then he got back to me. I was like,
oh, somebody else told you she can't stand you.
The groom.
Oh, the groom. Oh, so wait a minute, he's a snitch and a traitor. Okay, me and the groom got beef. He doing too much. You shouldn't be telling on your girl.
The groom is a very honest person. He ain't gonna lie for me. He ain't gonna lie for her. It's like,
nah.
I appreciate honesty. I'm glad that I was.
If we do it forever, you better lie to the police for me. We don't know what that body went, officer. I'm sorry. If we are gonna do life together, we are partners in crime. Lulu, would you ever go to a wedding if one of them didn't like you?
Yeah. I think I have.
Oh wow. And she's oh, so you're one of those cancers. Stab. I forgot.
Yeah, because I was in a wedding of a friend whose husband did not like me. I was a bridesmaid.
Why does that feel different? Is that sexism? I don't know why that feels different. Because to Jeffrey's point, in heteronormative weddings, the woman tends to be the one who's having the fairy tale, whatever. Unfortunately for me, I'm only attracted to pretty boys, so I feel like whoever I'm going to marry is going to care about his wardrobe more than I am. So I don't think that rule applies to me in particular. Same thing with Bridget. Cheech is a fashionista, so he cares very much about his outfits. But in weddings where the guy doesn't really care, I guess it does make a difference. All right, I want to do a quick.
think it's one. Oh,
no, hit it, Jeffrey.
I was gonna say, I think it's one of those things where it's like you literally have to be in. Like we love to say like what we will and won't do, but I think it's one of those things where you don't know until you're actually in that moment, because it wasn't expected for her to be like, I don't want him to come. It was the whole time thinking, of course Jeffrey's gonna be at the wedding, and so in that moment it was just a decision of, this is the person I'm spending the rest of my life with. What do I need to choose, making sure my friend feels included or not. And then also, I was told that they started doing couples counseling, and through counseling, he was able to express to her why it's important for me to be, a part of this big day. Because
did she agree?
Oh yeah, I mean, she agreed
begrudgingly.
Yes, it was just kind of one of those, you know what, I'm going to give you something, like, sure.
What was the reason? Like, what does she think you did without you saying too much?
That's the thing. Like,
did you check the side of somebody she don't fuck with? Like, a friend of my enemy is my enemy?
No.
Were you walking around with your titties out, offering to be side piece? Jeffrey, there has to be something. Jeffrey, they're talking about you in couples therapy, Jeffrey. If they're talking about you in couples therapy, it's clearly significant. Lulu,
we're jealous of
your friendship? Is he bisexual?
I don't know for sure. I think that's a big part of it, like actually seeing the closeness of the friendship. I think that could be a big part of it.
We're getting to the bottom of it, Lulu. You see that?
But
yep.
Does he be going on those hikes with y'all with the shirts on?
No.
Oh, okay. Bisexuality is a valid sexual orientation.
That's not even like
okay.
Not even the no like.
Okay. Well, the mystery of why Jeffrey is hated by the bride will continue. But thank you for sharing with us, and we hope that she won't see it. She can't stand your ass. Well, we hope that
the funny part is, I mean, I don't know about present day. Ooh, maybe I should shut up. Ooh,
wait a minute.
She's a fan of yours, Blue. So
is this the one that you wanted me to call to say hello to on Valentine's Day last year?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh my God. Okay, that's
well, you see, that's where the relationship was. I literally called Blue, like, oh my God, told her the situation. Would you like call it, like, that's how much I was like rooting for this situation.
Let me give full context. So Jeffrey, that wasn't the full sentence. There was no sentence there. What Jeffrey was trying to say is last Valentine's Day, I was at the nail salon trying to have a mental health day, just clear my mind. Because back then I just hated dating, didn't want to talk to nobody ever again. And as I'm waiting to get my nails done, Jeffrey says, hey, I know this couple who the girl in the couple really loves you. She's a big fan of yours. Would you mind getting on the phone with her, X, Y, and Z? And I said, here's the link to book me. I'm not doing a freebie because I'm a freelancer now. And he was like, oh, I don't think they're gonna pay. And I was like, well, I don't think we're gonna talk. So that was it was her. Hey sis, see how I took your side without even knowing who you were? I took your side without even knowing. Well, she's still a fan of mine. So how does she know that you're on my show? And now how does she feel that now it's our show?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Well, maybe she's still listening. So if she's listening, I can vouch for Jeffrey. He's a nice man.
Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. And me and Lulu, we love you. We want you to know that Jeffrey does
and
not
honestly, at this point, it's no hard feelings. Like I said, it's just things that have happened. It's no hard feelings towards her. I don't understand the complete dislike towards me. It's the things that have happened where I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna just bow out and just not go. Wish y'all well from the side.
No, I think that's fair. I don't think it's good to go to a wedding if you're not really your heart's not into it. The guy I'm talking to, I'm not a big fan of one of his friends, and I told him, and he took it very well. How do you guys feel about telling your partner when you're having an adverse reaction to someone in their friend group?
Oh, I'll tell him.
Oh, shit.
I don't like him. I don't like her.
Yeah.
I tell Natasha all the time when she be posting photos on her stories with these randos. I send her a real quick message.
I don't like this bitch.
He's overprotective. Like, stop trying to make fetch a thing.
No, we're Tauruses, Lulu. We're territorial. Fuck protective. We're territorial. We don't do her. Who's that? We don't like that. Who's that?
Yeah. That is 100% Jeff. 100%.
It's like me and Jeff are the same social signs. We're a Taurus with Gemini rising, and I will say, telling a guy that you are interested in that you don't fuck with some of his people and he takes it well is a relief, because that's how I am. Jeffrey, you know how you are. I think Lulu, you could probably do the same thing. I couldn't be with somebody where I had to lie about liking their people. Would you date somebody if you couldn't stand none of their friends though?
I would wonder why I would like them. See, look at Jeff.
What did Jeff say?
How good
is the sex?
Damn, here we go, and we're back. Lulu, give a real answer with the clothes on. This is why you got stuck in the sex ring. That was God smiting your ass. Get it, Lulu.
I was saying that, like, it would make me question, like, why do I even actually like them? Like, if this is the kind of people they keep themselves around, this kind of stuff they're discussing, and like, I think another reason would be like, why don't I like all of their friends? Like, none of them? That's a lot.
Yeah.
So
sometimes you get grandfathered in.
Badly.
Yeah, no, I know a friend, one of my friends, I'm not gonna say his name, I almost said his name, damn. He had a group of friends that he met in college. He outgrew them, he became somebody else, but he was grandfathered with them because he knew them in college. Nothing like him. The friendships eventually ended though. They eventually kind of had to.
But also, like, I mean, I feel like I have friends like that too, but it's just, I don't see them all the time. Like, they're not with me like every single weekend or every couple of, I'm not on the phone with them all the time. So sure, like, I have friends who I feel like I probably outgrown, or some of them I actually don't even like, but like, I'm like, they're my friend from this or my friend from that. You've never had a friend of me before? It's never happened to you before?
Wait a minute, she said something I don't even like them. Wait a minute, Lulu, I ain't got no friends I don't like.
I'm trying to think. Have I ever had a frenemy?
I have colleagues. I just downgrade you to a colleague.
I don't think I've ever had.
Oh yeah, then that's probably what I could just say. Call them that.
I got a bunch of colleagues. I got a handful of friends. I got a bunch of colleagues though, and it's no colleague doesn't always mean a downgrade. It just means that we're not friends, but we're friendly.
Yeah.
I see you. I know you. I say what's up. We might even sit next to each other at the cocktail hour, but like I'm not telling you my actual fucking business. You know what I mean? LA has taught me the hard way. So we've talked about a lot. I want to get into the hot topic for today. Today's hot topic is one that we briefly visited before, and my spidey sense about something being wrong were unfortunately confirmed ad nauseum, and now the entire internet is dragging this lady. Draya Michelle, on International Women's Day, announced that she at 39 was pregnant by then 21-year-old NBA star Jaylen Green, who has since turned 22 and is less than a year older than her son. So the man that she is pregnant, huh?
I thought when she pregnant when we talked about it.
No, we thought she was pregnant. Now she's confirmed it on International Women's Day. So went from speculation to a confirmation. So the thing that has become a thing is she waited until International Women's Day, and the message she wrote was, "Happy International Women's Day. As women, we have to navigate through so much, often leading us to question, what is my purpose? For me, the magic lies in motherhood and awe-inspiring ability to bring life into this world over the span of 2 decades. It's my superpower, and if anything can surpass the wonder of being a woman, it's the privilege of bringing another woman into existence. We are overjoyed to share our love for you, little girl. I'm excited to speak words to the daughter I never thought I'd have. We are anxious about your arrival, but take your time. This world can be tough, but know that you are being brought into a space of love, security, and adornment. Hashtag 28 weeks. So here's the issue with that, right? You're a child predator who is weaponizing International Women's Day to hide the fact that you did something fucked up. And so the backlash that she got was so great. And because this is very manipulative. You guys, there's a term called virtue signaling, where someone uses something that's supposed to make you say, to hide their fuck shit, right? It's almost like when you watch The Color Purple or something, if somebody got raped or was abused by somebody in the family, but they make a big deal out of the baby shower because the child is a blessing, not talking about that there was a sexual assault that created that child. It's the same kind of mindset. She's known Jaylen Green since he was too young to drink. Waited until he was legally able to drink. And there's a lot of conversations about how predatory she is. There's also a lot of conversation around the fact that she didn't even take care of the son who's his age. So imagine your mother leaves you to be a latchkey, making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and mashed potatoes by yourself to run the streets and find hot boys. And she, according to you, allegedly, according to him and many who know them, does not raise you their entire life, is on VH1 chasing fame, and then intentionally gets pregnant by somebody who you could have been in class with, and is now using International Women's Day to hide how she's being predatory and doing things that would get men dragged and canceled. Now The Read, shout out to our friends over at The Read, did a beautiful takedown of Draya where they talked about all the reasons this is incredibly fucked up. And before anybody says, are they in love? Draya herself says they're not in love. She doesn't love this young boy that she got knocked up by on purpose because he is going to make a lot of money. She said, I just want to be a co-parent with him. So imagine being someone who preys on NBA people. You know that once they hit their 30s, they know how to wear condoms. So you get to find one young enough to not to come in you. And now you get knocked up by him and you're not even pretending to be in love with him. He's a cash grab. But you wait till International Women's Day, hoping that using that holiday will get the women to be on your side. And it doesn't work because we all have Wi-Fi. What are you guys' thoughts on this? Because I was very dismayed only because as a woman who dates younger, I understand that love can have different ages, but there's a difference between dating younger and being predatory. And a 21-year-old boy and a 39-year-old woman who has a son his age. Are we going to admit that there's something off there, or are we just going to say live and let live and keep it pushing? Who wants to start?
It's the son that's his age that has me like, ugh, Drea, like
The son you didn't
that's
raise.
yeah, the son you didn't raise. Like that's the part to me that is the grossest, like out of everything that's happening here. Because even if you didn't raise him, I'm sure she saw him every couple of
Yeah.
years or something. And to know that this is the same age as your son that you gave birth to, that's very icky. And it's funny to me because like, and it is icky, and it's sure that's one thing, but I really, really wish these men who are so outraged and mad at Drea would do the same thing with all the men who do it. The men who like roll up to the high schools and are dating 16-year-olds when they're 30. Like their
Like R.
uncles, their
Kelly.
cousins, their homeboys, like R. Kelly. Like, but there's so many just regular ass men who
Yeah.
do this, like who like prey on high school girls, and there's no outrage about that. And I'm just, it's just so annoying. And they were like, well, it's not the same because they're not getting money from her. I was like, because again, we want different things. You guys want something, you want something young, stupid, small, tight, and like isn't able to think. And women want security, which is money. So they'll keep dating.
Pregnancy money.
Yeah, pregnancy money, but they'll just keep dating. There was a guy who coached at my high school. Now I'm over 40. This man, he just got convicted. He's been doing this since I was in high school. He just got this girl pregnant, was 16-year-old pregnant. So he has to be like in his 50s. So he's still been doing this for 20 years, has never gone to jail, nothing. And I'm like, everybody knows that he does it and nobody's putting their foot down about it. Now, I'm again, what Drea does is icky, it's gross, like it's weird also. But I just wish that people would be more out, like I wish men really would be more outraged about this kind of stuff when, because I feel like this happens way more men preying on women than women preying on men. Not saying it doesn't happen, because it absolutely does, 100%.
Yeah.
But there's also like a physical and even like a power factor that is that's not usually involved with from men to women. So I just wish everybody would just, I don't know, like go ahead, Jeff.
I agree with you 100% on the like. It's definitely icky. It's kind of weird. He's the same age as your son.
And you're known for You're known for targeting NBA niggas.
Well,
you just found one young and stupid enough to come in you.
But I think this is the part where I'm like, again, I agree. It's very weird. I don't know her dynamics with her son. I'm just hearing about that from you, so I didn't know the dynamics of that with her son and all that.
Listen to this week's episode of The Read. They tore her apart.
It's weird. But I'm with Tasha. I'm like, y'all don't have the same outrage when men are out here doing it all the time. So it's like, for me, she's a reality star. She's a reality TV star. Drea can't go and get a job at Walmart, Wendy's, McDonald's. She can't have a regular ass job.
So are we excusing her? How's that relevant?
I'm not excusing. She's securing her future. Mama ain't gonna never have to work again after she had this baby. I'm glad that she, at the bare minimum, did two things. Number one, she ain't sit here and try to fake like it's some love story and this is the love of my life, this is my king and all of that. I'm glad she didn't do that. And two, I'm at least glad she made sure that the nigga was of a legal age, because if he'd have been 18, fresh out of high school, 19, then it's just like, just lock her up, even though he is legal. But at least at 21 is like, okay.
His frontal lobe is still mushy and he's still a child mentally speaking.
But I don't want to, it's weird, but
it's gross.
I don't want to come down on Drea too hard, because people don't come down on men like that. So
no, you guys, we cannot do that. We cannot say that because white rapists get away with something, black rapists shouldn't go to jail. I hate that argument. I hate the argument that because one group gets away with something bad, no group should ever be held accountable for it. That argument, yeah. No, but I'm saying when Jeffrey just said that because he can't come down on her because we don't come down on men. That I don't.
I just feel like
we should come down on everybody.
My only stance on it is that it's weird. That's my only stance on it. It's weird.
It's predatory.
Like,
it's
weird.
predatory. It's absolutely, it's not weird. It's predatory. Anytime it's like somebody saying, oh, if Jeffrey gets raped because women who get raped don't get as much outrage, we shouldn't care that Jeffrey got raped. Rape is still bad. Rape is still bad.
He's 21. He's
No,
5 years past
Jeffrey, I'm giving an example of assault. I'm saying if somebody does something predatory and disgusting and bad, saying that others get away with it doesn't make it any less bad. It doesn't make it any less bad. It's still wrong and harmful. Imagine, like, and that's the thing that breaks my heart. For me, when Black men are the ones who are predatory, we do have an affinity to quickly say, well, women don't get this. Like, I think it's gross either way. And I don't like to do the oppression Olympics thing where one group should not, we should not care about one group because we didn't care enough about the other group. It's wrong if it happens to any group. And honestly, men who are sexually assaulted are what create the men who sexually assault women. So I also think that it's cyclical too, because a lot of R. Kelly was sexually assaulted, right? So the cycle often starts with a man is sexually assaulted. He doesn't know what the lines are anymore because he was touched inappropriately or there was a power dynamic that was wrong that he has perverted his mind. Now he has this bitterness around him towards women. It's completely fucked up in his head and he justifies doing it to women back. So when women prey on men, men then prey on women even more. So I think there's something short-sighted about making it about women being assaulted when this is about a young boy who's been assaulted and staying on the topic. I think it's fucked up. And I don't think what happens to women makes it any less fucked up. I think it's still fucked up. And he's 21. Imagine when you guys were 21. Imagine if that was your nephew. You'd be outraged if it was your nephew.
It's fucked up, but I guess my point was, it's just like the outrage that men are feeling when your homeboy is starting to chase after a 17-year-old girl. You need to remember this feeling. Like, remember how gross you thought it was. Like, that's the point that I'm trying to make. Like, I'm like,
that's different.
Now that I feel like it hits home differently when men are like, oh my God, she took advantage here, da da da. Because like when they're just, you see your uncle over here with this 21-year-old girl and he's 47, you not being like, oh, that shit is kind of nasty. That's the same age as your daughter, or like whatever.
It's like, oh, you still pulling them, Unc.
Yeah,
so
it's gross.
That's my thing, because I'm like, maybe this will help men understand like why this is not cool. Like maybe it helps their way of thinking, their mindset, something like that. That's the point that I'm trying to make.
Yeah, but the thing is we can't come down on her because we didn't come down on them. That's what they did with R. Kelly with white men. They were like, well, since Harvey Weinstein got away with it for 30 years, R. Kelly got 5 more years to be able to rape these bitches. I hate that fucking argument. It's all wrong.
I think that it's gross. Like, I don't think that, I think that she should definitely be shamed. And
oh, damn,
no
Lulu.
Shame.
Wait.
No, I'm serious.
Lulu said shame.
Smite her, almighty
Shame,
like
Game of Thrones.
Shame.
I think it's obvious. I mean, it's not, it goes without saying. It's just very like weird, icky, disgusting, however you want to phrase it.
She's a sexual predator.
I am just like, she's a reality star. What do we expect from Draya? She's a reality TV star. She's
a sexual predator.
Reality and television kind of meld into one. This is a storyline opportunity for her. Like,
and what do we think about her trying to use International Women's Day to be like, yeah, I be touching boys?
She's a reality star. Of course she's
that's manipulative.
We heard you, Jeffrey. Another line. We need something else. That's not further in the conversation.
The thing is, I don't.
It's not further.
Number one, I don't think about Draya, so even when the story we first talked about it, I kind of didn't care. But it's just like, what do we expect from this girl?
It's still damaging.
Not girl, lady.
It's still damaging and disgusting and worth calling out. Yeah.
And I feel like I expect her at least have respect for herself or even her son. Because I feel like that's even disrespectful to him. If you dating one of my classmates, like for real, mom,
I ain't agreeing with her,
or care about me enough, like just not to embarrass me like this. Like, Jesus Christ, you can't find nobody like 26.
Is her, do we know, Blue, is her relationship today, present day with her son, is it like good?
We wouldn't know, but I know somebody has like a plane going above or something. No, we just know that she and her son were estranged and she was running the streets chasing her dreams while he was a child. And there's been several allegations that she was an absentee mom and wasn't really there. You know, the kind of mothers that go to the strip club and do what they gotta do to make their dreams come true, and the whole time their grandma or somebody's watching the kid. It's always been one of those alleged situations that she was a bit of a non-present mother because she just didn't have it. And back then we felt bad for her because like, oh my God, here's the thing that's so wild. I actually met Draya at BeautyCon a couple years ago. And at BeautyCon, when I met her, she was doing the speech about how she was a broke young mother who was trying to make ends meet. In the first season of Basketball Wives, she was so broke she had to park her hoopty 3 blocks away from set so they wouldn't see her driving up to be on camera. And I remember feeling so bad for her about this young girl the single mother who was trying to make it. Over the years, she's become everybody's favorite, trophy. Like, oh, Drea, she's a baddie, she's a baddie, she's a baddie. And then she started targeting rich niggas, which is, that's a regular thing that happens, to your point, with the reality stars. But then you realize as she got older, when the rich guys had younger options and she was no longer fresh, she started preying on the young ones who didn't know any better. The fact that this young man allegedly, there's allegations, he had a crush on her when he was a kid. So 5 years ago, when he was a kid, literally 5 years ago, guys, he was a kid. When he was in high school 5 years ago, he had a crush on her, and little did he know that the old hoe from the 90s who he had a crush on would still be down to clown when he became legal. Like, there's just something so predatory and nasty about this.
It's so funny you say that, Blue, because I was talking to my girlfriends about that, because people were like, why would he like what? And I was like, I bet he like had a post of her on her wall or something, or like he was literally watching her on Basketball Wives when he was like 13.
Yeah.
And was like, oh my God, she's so bad, blah, 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 blah. And like he just wanted to fulfill that fantasy, which a lot of people do. People do it with celebrities, people do it with all kinds of people. So I think that that's what it was. And he bit off more than he could chew, child.
And she trapped him for life. A child is for life. And because it's a little girl, if she's being this manipulative with us in the caption, trying to make us be feminists about her being a predator, imagine what she's going to teach that little girl. Imagine what she's going to teach that little girl. That little girl's going to think niggas ain't nothing but a come up in the check, and the cycle continues of the gender wars and the scamming. I think it's gross. And also too, this brings up the conversation of toxic femininity. Do you think because we are so comfortable talking about only niggas ain't shit that we don't ever want to just sit with when women are doing something wrong? Every time a woman does something wrong, there's always this urge to shift it to, but men do it too. Are we ever in life going to hold women accountable so that we don't become as handicapped as men? Because the thing that concerns me about this is the reason why we have men who are mentally handicapped and unable to deal with feedback and emotions is because for centuries, they weren't allowed to be held accountable. So the same handicap that we're talking about in men, we're now creating in women. It makes me nervous.
Yeah, the thing is crazy to me is, and I feel like, unfortunately, and I'm really not trying to blame men, but I feel like this is like a cyclical. It's going in a cycle.
Absolutely, a cycle. So how do we break it? The answer is
I don't know how to break it.
Yeah.
No, but I don't know how to break it. But the point I'm trying to make is like, especially like all these rap songs, ain't no fun that the homies can't have none. Where the hoes at? Hoes this, hoes that. And you like all these songs that were about women being hoes and doing all this. Women was like, you know what? Fuck this. Like, I can use this pussy to get money. And since you don't respect me anyways, where the money at? And so like that has become like a thing. And because honestly, men have been giving women money since the beginning of time, since they were like whatever, like this has been going on forever. So I think that women have been getting more blatant about it happening and being more curt about what the fuck are you going to do.
But that's not toxic femininity, though. By the way, that's not toxic femininity, though. I don't want to conflate the two.
I'm just let me land this plane. And so, like, I think that so men are just like, oh, like, wow, you're asking me for this, y'all are hoes, and I'm like, they've been treating women like, obviously there are case by case basis. I've had wonderful relationships with several men, and I've been respected a ton, blah, 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 blah. But I think that, especially with the internet and social media, these young girls who don't have life experiences and actually see that they think that this is how they're supposed to act in relationships and or with people. And then it gets messed up. Like they see somebody who's like in high school and they see Draya and they're like, oh yeah, she did it. She got the bag. Like they think that this is the way life is supposed to be. And that is kind of scary because I think that the people who are younger, they can't really see the forest through the trees. Like people who are older, like us who remember when there was no internet and remember when there was no cell phones. Like we know that there's different things that happen online and what's real life. And I think that like right now, people are not able to decipher and they think that this is really how you're supposed to live. But yes.
I agree with all of that. We've done ad nauseum conversations around how the current wave of sexual autonomy is a counterbalance to misogyny. That is a very different conversation. My issue is when autonomy becomes abusive. Why is it that whenever a woman does something that is abusive, not sexual autonomy, abusive, toxic, predatory, and wrong, we can't sit with that without making about what niggas do it too? Because it's wrong when niggas do it, so why did it stop being wrong when she did it? Like that is a conversation where it's very hard for me at any single point to ever hold a woman accountable without her bringing up niggas. And here's the thing, men do the same thing. So it's becoming that the same niggas we can't stand, we're becoming them. We are niggas now. And it makes me nervous because we're so clear it's wrong when they do it, but it's okay when we do it. How does that fix anything? That makes me nervous.
It doesn't fix anything, but I think that it's like basically the rebuttal to men's behavior. And I think that the toxic feminine, it just basically happened because of toxic masculinity.
We know.
I don't know what the solution is. I don't know what the solution is. And I think that, you know, also like another reason why is because women just don't trust, like they don't, I think a lot of women, they don't trust what you're saying. And like, if I love you and I appreciate you, then you should be able to give me feedback that is not always like rainbows and butterflies.
Mhm.
And if you don't trust me enough to be able to tell you something like that, then we probably shouldn't be dealing in this capacity.
Justifying abuse by mentioning that other people abuse too is always going to be a stupid argument. Like it's an intellectually dishonest argument, right? Throughout history, this has never worked. So forget me making an assumption. As somebody who loves history, never in history has somebody been abused and then abused just as well and it fixed anything. And so I would love us to get to a place where we can hold people accountable without it always being a distraction. We can understand the reasoning, but we can also understand the reason why men do shit. The same way we gave an excuse just now, an explanation, that same explanation exists for men too. Everything has an explanation. What the fuck does that have to do with it being wrong, though? Do you guys have any female friends who you think are incapable of taking accountability in this way? Because it's making me nervous about making women friends. It's the number one way I vet if I can be your friend as a woman or not. Can you take accountability without making it about niggas all the time?
Wait, you said we have friends that do not?
The women that you know are toxically feminine and will never take accountability because niggas ain't shit. So she can do whatever she wants, as foul as she wants, but because proverbial niggas ain't shit, she gets to be the devil herself. And nothing's ever her fault.
She believes that, or I believe that about her?
She moves like that. She moves like that. Whether
Hell yeah, I know somebody like that. Tasha, we know somebody like that.
They got real quiet. Y'all, for those of you who can't see, they both looked
Like
around
Mr.
they got real fucking quiet. Okay, so since you guys know somebody who's toxically feminine, how do you deal with someone who's living in that space of delusion of hating the very thing that she represents herself?
Yeah, I ain't dating her, so.
But you're still sharing space with her as a human being.
Again, I think I kind of took a back seat on the remainder of this conversation because I say how I feel. I think it's icky. Me, Jeffrey is not mad at Draya. I think it's weird. You know, he'd say maybe the show, but I'm not mad at the situation. And so I just.
And repeat again why you're not mad at her being a sexual predator.
He's 21 years old. I know that we all have, I don't know what values or morals or whatever upbringing his parents, instilled and taught him.
By the way, there's no age on being a sexual predator, by the way. That's just for statutory rape. That's not for being a sexual predator. So that's actually not relevant. There are people who can be preyed upon as adults.
Yeah. I don't know if they had a conversation about sex with him. My mother, when she believed I was heterosexual, had a very, very like kind of, not really even a conversation. I just know condoms were mentioned and told to be used. I don't know the conversations that he has had with his parents had with him and growing up and what stuck, what didn't stick. The night him and Drea were together, what they talked about. If she pulled it off, poked holes in it, if nobody even brought up I don't know what happened to lead to her being pregnant. But at the same time, it's just like, yeah, we always want to say, oh yeah, young and dumb, he young and dumb and this and that. But at the same time, he's still grown and has to have some responsibility in this.
He's not fully grown yet. The reason why, so there's a thing called abuse of power where you can be two. No, there's a thing called abuse of power where you can be two adults and there's still an inequitable power structure. When someone's like frontal lobe hasn't even congealed yet and you are almost 40, that is psychologically considered something that can be predatory, especially if you are someone who is seasoned and have been running this game of scamming niggas the entire time that he's been alive. So that's actually, this is not about the age thing. The 21 doesn't anything about that.
To that point, yes, we all have been seeing Drea since 2000, whatever, on, whatever.
Since he was 2. Yeah.
whatever. Everybody know how Drea move. Everybody know, and Drea is also probably going for younger because older people know, hey,
Know better and
they
cannot be
associate.
abused.
I don't know. They associate this woman with all these typical tropes, being a hoe or whatever. So, Drea she's a woman of a certain age, and unfortunately, be it Hollywood or be it just life in general, tend to want to wash women out after they hit a certain age. Drea's like, while I still got these years, I'm not 40 yet. Well, you know what? Let me look. He ain't 18. That's when I would be here with y'all cussing her out and be like, look, girl, get the F on. But
Sexual abuse is not about being legal, guys. That's not how that works.
and I'm going
That's
to.
not
I mean,
how
I'm gonna
that
guess.
works.
I don't know him. I don't know him at all.
Well, here's the thing. You're
I'm
complaining
going
with
to
child
guess.
abuse.
I'm going to
Child abuse
guess,
is
but I'm going
18.
to
So we're not
guess
talking
that
about child
he did
abuse.
not lose. I'm going to guess he did not lose his virginity to Drea. I'm guessing. If he did and it happened on the first time, okay, but this ain't the first time he had sex, so
Most
he
of R.
should know
Kelly's
about
victims are legal
rapping.
adults, guys. We're not talking about child abuse. So the age of him being over 18 doesn't mean it's less abusive. That's not how this works. Like quite literally. That's not how this works. An abuse of power can be any age where somebody has an advantage against you, especially experience, and they're running game on you in a way that you are too young, naive, and inexperienced to in any way fight against. Sometimes it's financial, sometimes it's physical, sometimes it's based on age and experience. But most people who Harvey Weinstein and R. Kelly have been convicted of abusing are adults who are well over 21. We can't say once you're 18, people can abuse you and we don't give a fuck. It's not child abuse. Child abuse is not the only form of abuse.
I understand that, and I hear all that. Just from what
Then why do we keep bringing up that he's not 18?
From what the stories have been reported, what's been said, even you introing it and everything, nothing about him feeling he was in some way abused has come out of this. It sounds very much like
An abuse
he
of
wanted
power.
to participate in it. He wanted to participate in it.
I think what Jeff is trying to say is he was manipulated, and manipulation is not illegal.
An abuse
I ain't
of
gonna even say
power.
manipulated. Like I said, he probably had Drea
Okay, well,
plastered up
never
on his
mind. I
wall.
tried to help.
Yeah, no, and again, I might be on a sinking ship or on an island by myself. But again, I'm not mad at Drea. Like I said, I think it's weird. It's obviously very weird. I just will not sit here and be mad at Drea. I won't be. I'm sorry, I can't.
You know what? It makes me really sad that there's an apathy for young Black men who are abused, who are taken advantage of, who are maligned and put in really psychological harmful situations. And then when we hear statistics like Black men are the fastest growing group of people killing themselves. And these very stories are cited as the reasons why. And then we act surprised. And so for me, it's not, let me just finish. Let me land this plane. For me, it's heartbreaking to me that the stats are showing that these things that we're not mad at, quote unquote, are literally killing Black men. And we still don't give a fuck because niggas ain't shit. And it makes me very sad, right? Because anybody being abused, man, woman, gender non-conforming, whatever, I think is sad. And there's an apathy for the mental health crisis that's going on with Black men that comes out the most in stories like these. The apathy concerns me. We've talked about this before. There's an apathy that concerns me because if it was a young girl, I know for a fact it would be very different. And even though misogyny is real and patriarchy is real, if that was your son and there was a 39-year-old woman who was preying on your 21-year-old boy, wasn't even pretending to love him and was using him so that she could forevermore get half his money through a child that she basically used his childhood crush to get out of him, you'd be enraged, right? But if it's not our children, we don't care, especially if it's young Black boys. So
I don't think he was saying because niggas ain't shit. I think he was just saying in general.
No, earlier he said niggas ain't shit.
I just think it's a lot of
yeah.
headlines about the situations and things, and I'm just like, so what we gonna do when what's his name again? Jaylen? What's Jaylen? What we gonna do when Jaylen come out and say, that's my baby mama. I'm ready and excited for this child. What are we gonna do in that?
R. Kelly's victims did the same thing. So what are you saying?
But I'm just saying, if he comes out and is excited about it, happy about it, and knows, yes, I am significantly younger than her. Yes, I knew I did not put a condom on, or we started with a condom, took it off. Like, yes, I knew all of this, and he is over the moon about it.
I'm gonna say the same thing. I'm gonna say the same thing I said when R. Kelly's victims did the same thing. Victims regularly defend their abusers. What does that mean? I don't understand that question.
Okay. Again, hey, I'm sitting here by myself. I think it's weird.
No,
but
yeah,
I'm not
no,
mad at
yeah.
Draya.
I am.
I'm not mad at her.
And that's the point that's disappointing, is that when women are predatory, we're not mad at them, because bitch, you got how you live it, and where are we going with this? So we're going to create a bunch of abusive women as a response to abusive men. Now everybody's getting abused twice. Now what? Like what gets fixed from this ploy? What gets improved? That's a real question.
Like I said, I don't know what the solution is. I really don't, because I think that there are tons and tons of damaged people who are doing stuff all the time. And I think now, because of social media and more people do have access to ways to get mental health assistance, that, you know, we could see like people who are more involved and people who have healed and things like that. But there are a lot of, like, most people probably have some trauma that they need to work through, most folks. And I mean, I don't know.
Glorifying it online, I think glorifying it online actually overstates what's happening, and then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. There are a lot of things, there have been studies that have shown that things that are not really happening in real life are glorified on social media and then become true because of it. So it ends up being the backwards thing, where everybody, like right now, everybody acts like nobody's married, nobody's ever been in love. Meanwhile, in real life, we know plenty of couples who are married and working their hardest to stay together, right?
I don't. Tell me so.
Let me finish. I know.
Natasha actually, no, Natasha. I know.
I'm like, wow, your own co-host, really? Wow. But like the stories that we hear online are over exaggerated, and then we believe them, and then we make them true. So that's why I find it concerning, because every single stat shows, you see it online, you swear it's true, and then you make it true. A lot of this shit is not actually real life. We make it real life, right? And so the apathy actually makes it worse. We talked about this before. Once you become apathetic into compassion and to like basic human decency, we're fucked. And so I think the Drea of it all is showing that we're fucked. And the whole City Girls Up thing, a lot of these girls are performative and be chasing after their man in real life, but they're creating women who actually do it because they think that they're really living it. Cardi was singing all these songs the whole time she was stuck in drunken love on Offset. 11 times she hasn't left that man. Beyonce was singing Single Ladies, but was still fucking getting married to Jay-Z. Like there's a theater to things that back in the day we knew was theater. But now the theater, we're believing the theater and making it real though. It wasn't real before, we're making it real.
But also the thing is, it's just, again, and we are reading
like the kids,
these headlines. Nobody is set down with Drea and Jaylen, and if you want to include Jaylen's parents, nobody has sat down with them and gotten the words out of their mouth, what happened that night and where they are today. We're just seeing the headlines. Drea's pregnant, so we're all outraged because she's 39 and he's 21, 22, and he's at, like, it's just all these headlines. How many times, Boo, you've been in this business for a while? How many times,
very long time,
even about yourself, has somebody said something about you, and you sitting there like, does anybody want to ask me what actually happened here?
Well, what I usually say is my character says different, so she can't apply that. Like the thing that she's being accused of. So the way that they do an IQ test is, an IQ test is they give you something, a pattern, and based on the pattern, can you intelligently hypothesize what's most likely to come next? So this is part of a long-standing, decades-long pattern that in the IQ test, what we're saying would be considered a high IQ, right? So I think saying something that is so wild it sounds nothing like me is not the same thing as us seeing you do something for over a decade and assuming it's happening once more. They're not the same. This is completely in line with her character, right? So the hypothesis is extremely founded on fact, things that have been quantified, things that have been said, people in the industry who do know how she gets down. So if you've been doing something for 10, 15 years, and we're assuming you're doing it for the 16th year, that's not the same thing as someone like saying something about me that sounds nothing like me. It's not the same thing at all, actually. She's earned this reputation through actions that have already been confirmed. Just like R. Kelly. There are a couple of people who were like, well, how do we know those last 3? We know the first 70. Are we going to split hairs about the last 3? It's nasty in general. And here's another one, right? And that's what makes me icky, is everything we're saying about her, we would know was wrong if we were saying it about R. Kelly. Do you guys have any thoughts around to the young men who are watching? Because I do get a lot, and the reason why I'm passionate about this is because a lot of young men hit me up and they say, Blue, I never thought I would see a woman or anybody in their podcast show me compassion, because they usually make me feel bad about abuse. What do we say to the young men who've been abused who are watching this episode? What do you guys have to say? Because I feel like I've said enough on that topic.
That have been abused?
It'd be powerful to hear from someone who's not me, because I'm always waving this flag.
I mean, I've never been in that particular situation. I mean, I just think it's a thing of just letting people know that they're heard. Like,
Mhm.
you are heard. You have people that care about you. You do have people that want to stand up and either speak or show up to court or whatever it is for you. It just takes a lot, but you might have to speak up and speak out.
Do you know any young men who've been abused? Like, has
I do
anybody? How did they
actually.
feel safe enough to tell you?
Oh.
Oh, Jeffrey, Lulu, help him,
No,
please.
because I had to sit and think about
Look,
it
look at Lulu's face.
actually.
You don't have to say names, friends. Please don't say
No,
names.
it's not a name. Well, the name
Look
the
at
name
Lulu's
is
face.
the name is actually Jeffrey. Like it's very
Jeffrey,
much
why'd you
a
say his
huh?
name?
No, I'm
Why'd you
saying
say?
Jeffrey.
Okay.
Jeffrey.
Okay.
And I mean it's a story I don't think I've even shared that with y'all. I've only shared that with my best friend. And it's just like I don't know. It's not the proper way to deal with it, but it was just something where
How did you
it's
deal with it?
like,
What's the proper? What do you mean? What's not the proper way?
kind of just moving on, like
Mm.
moving along, and just like, okay, whatever, just moving along.
Disassociating, basically, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's the part
it's
that
just kind of more
concerns me,
like,
guys. Yeah.
because assault did not happen. It was just very much more an uncomfortable situation.
Hmm.
It was just kind of like, okay, well, it didn't get to that point, so it's like, okay, let me just move on. I got it off my chest, spoke about it, said I thought about it with my best friend, but never then taking it to like public or just even telling other friends and things like that. Like just like, okay, you know.
How did it make you feel before you disassociated?
It's this part of like, did that really happen? It's the part of like, wait, am I making too much? You really just question like,
Hmm.
okay, well, because physically it didn't, happen. Is that really? It's like you just have all these questions and these things, and you're just like, okay, well, I don't want to bring it up because
Hmm.
it's not like I can sit here and be like, I got pinned down and choked out, and X, Y, and Z or whatever. So it's just kind of like,
Yeah, and you're
I,
battling with like, I don't want to make this a bigger deal than it needs to be, and blah blah blah.
It's
Maybe I'm
internalized shame.
overreacting.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
specifically with
internalized
me,
shame.
it was somebody of a very, very public profile person, high profile person, and so then it just definitely becomes a like small fish, big pond. Like,
Hmm.
do I want to say something where now I am shamed or exiled, X, Y, Z, and this person continues to thrive, or just keep going along, cooking my macaroni and cheese, building my own thing, and just going about my life.
How old were you when it happened, if you don't mind sharing?
um, 32, 3. This was before the pandemic, but definitely well into my full-on adulthood, well past 30.
See, first of all, thank you for sharing that, right? Because you didn't have to share that, and the fact that you felt safe enough to share that is a big deal. So we want to clap for that. I think Jeffrey, that proves that's what I was trying to get to, is that so many people, particularly men of any age. Now imagine you even 12 years younger than that, right? Fresh out of like high school and college, right? So many people have these moments that feel icky and nasty and make them question themselves, make them wonder if their boundaries are real, make them wonder if their feelings are valid. And especially when it's somebody who's celebrated, somebody who's a big deal, somebody who you had a crush on since you were 14, you find ways to talk yourself out of valid feelings of dis-ease and discomfort. Now imagine something like that happening, and now that person has abused you to the point where you have a child you have to take care of for the next 20 years. And
But
that's
again,
what
for
breaks
me,
my that's what breaks my heart is when it happens to us in small moments, it feels icky and we disassociate. Imagine getting caught up to this degree where you are now being publicly spoken about and your pain is something that's being picked apart on podcasts. And you have a little girl that's not going to be born and you're trying to figure out, do I now have to lie to the public? Not because I wasn't abused, but because it's going to look bad when my daughter sees this. That's why I find this so sinister because Drea's been around to know all of this and she did it anyways. She knows the outcome. She knows what it's like to be publicly dragged. Remember how many times Drea's been publicly dragged? She knows how fucked up. She talked about it during BeautyCon, how fucked up it feels to have the public talking about you crazy, coming at you, calling you a whore, telling you your feelings don't matter. She cried about something as a victim, and now she's victimizing someone else who's half her age, the same age as her child. I think that's what's To me, I am mad at that. I'm mad at that because if you told me that story, Jeffrey, and then a week later I found out that you did it to somebody else, I'd be like, Jeffrey, but it happened to you. How fucking dare you? So I am mad
And
at
the thing
Drea.
And the thing is like I've seen like from my own eyeballs, like and and I think also like women abuse and also manipulation, it looks so different than when
Very.
men do it. That's like another thing. So I feel like with a lot of men, they don't even feel comfortable telling somebody like, hey, I've been seeing Drea, she's cool, but like I don't know, she keeps pressuring me not to use condoms and like I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
it's weird. Like da, da, da. And they're like, what? Drea is so bad. You should. Wow, if I was you, I would do, 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 do. And men are like, I don't know what the problem is.
She a
Everything's
badass
great.
bitch. I'll take her. Little punk.
Right.
You a pussy, you a
Let's go to
faggot. Yeah.
right, let's go to a strip club and solve our problems. Like, so it's like I literally have a friend who's so good at like slowly like pressing a man to do something he doesn't want to do. Like I've literally watched her do it. And she's like a small little like unassuming girl, pretty girl, and she just like keeps pushing and keeps doing. And I could literally see Drea doing that with that man, like and just keep going because he's not like even have the maturity enough to be like, hey, no, stop. I don't want to do this
Yeah.
anymore. Stop. You know what I mean? So like, and I don't even know if that was necessarily the case and feasibly could not be, but he's so young. I think that he hasn't really figured out how to create boundaries. And I'm sure that he was still attracted to her. So like
Mm-hmm.
he probably also wants to make her happy. He also does want to sleep with her. Maybe all his friends are high-fiving him because he's, that's the boo right now. So this, I mean, it's just a lot. Like I could see how he could be manipulated.
And whatever feelings he feels, where does he put them now? Who's gonna sympathize with him? People gonna be like, I'm not mad at Drea. She a bad bitch. She's out here and city girls up. He has nowhere to put that, and he still has to raise her daughter with her. So now there's another little girl who hasn't been born yet, whose father has a jaded view of what women are like, but who's supposed to teach you how to be daddy's little princess. Like the damage is so damaging that the apathy has to concern me. It just does, guys. I know I sound like a bleeding heart, and I know for those of you who have been
No, that's
abused
good.
and
You have
disassociated
compassion.
it,
That's good.
and that's the thing. Like I don't think compassion should be so like such a small voice in the middle of this. You know what I mean? And to be fair, there were a lot of women who were calling Dre out too. So it wasn't just the guys who were being misogynistic. The shade room had to shut down the comments because I think they were shocked that the women were like, don't use International Women's Day for this bullshit. No. How we get in it? We ain't got nothing to do with you playing with that little boy and make him put a baby in you. And so I think I want to shout out Greg and Crystal from the Read for being brave enough to bring it up because I really thought I was going to be the only person talking about it. Like I was like, I'm going to be the lone wolf talking about compassion, the sea, Felicity girls. I'm going to look stupid. And so I was very pleasantly surprised on the way home last night when I heard their episode and realized that they were going to talk about it too. I just,
Yeah, I feel like most women, most people are the ones who are against this. Like
yeah.
for the most part, I feel like everybody is like, this shit is not cool. It's not cool. It's not cute. It's pretty gross. But I don't think that her and Joy are the same. But
Joy, explain who Joy is for people who don't
maybe.
know.
Joy, she also got pregnant. I think she's 35, and her
Joy
boyfriend
Chavez.
is yes, and her boyfriend is 25 or
Mhm.
24. He's like 10 years younger than her. But I might be biased because my boyfriend's 10 years older than me.
No, I'm saying for the audience, can you actually like flesh that out? You're talking as if you assume we all know what you're talking
Oh,
about.
okay, I'm sorry.
Because I have no
There's
idea what's going
Yeah, the
on.
audience doesn't know who you're talking about.
there's another woman named Joy who also has a baby with Future, and she also has a baby with Little Bow Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And she's 35 years old. She's recently been dating a football player. I don't know what his name is, but he's 25 or 24, something like that. He's around 10 years younger than her.
Mm-hmm.
And she recently announced that she was pregnant also.
For the third
And
time, yeah.
for the third time. And people were saying that she too is a predator.
I mean, female predators do exist when I think there was that light-skinned comedian Darnell, I think his name is, talked about how he slept with a woman who was in her 20s when he was a teen. Chris Brown talked about losing his virginity. A lot of Black men talk about losing their virginity to grown women who are late 20s, early 30s when they're like 14 and don't realize they've been raped. Right. And I'm using the word non-consensual sex is called rape, guys. So I'm just going to use the real word. And so many Black men don't think they've been sexually assaulted, which is what normalizes it ain't fun if the homies can't have none. We were talking about that root earlier. That root is still cyclical where they're abused by a woman who does not know boundaries, and then they assume no one deserves boundaries. So it's actually which came first, the chicken or the egg, right? It's this nasty cycle of women who are abusing younger men, and then younger men thinking that women can't be abused because they're hoes or angels. Two very different things. The Madonna whore complex. And so yeah, a lot of Black men are going to be listening to this episode and be like, oh shit, was I sexually assaulted when I tell that fun story about when I was 15 and I slept with Miss Johnson? Yeah, Miss Johnson sexually assaulted you, babe.
I mean,
And here's
yes,
the
if you
thing.
were
Yeah,
15,
I
absolutely.
was
Yeah.
thinking about, I don't know if you're talking about D-Ray when you're saying light skinned
D-Ray,
comedian,
yeah.
because I think I saw that too, and he wasn't even joking. Like he was like, "No, it's not funny," and like literally all the
Everybody was
other men in the
laughing.
room were
Yeah.
laughing at him and being like,
Yeah.
"No," he was like, "No, like for real, like this was like I was abused." Like he was saying it, and they were still laughing. So I'm
Mhm.
like, it's a hard space to navigate because like going back to Drea's baby daddy, like he literally doesn't have anybody to talk to about this, you know. And
He
then
just turned
again,
22,
what you were
guys. He
saying,
just turned 22.
yeah. And then his daughter could grow up and see this. And then I'm sure Dre will probably villainize him. And then if he says anything bad about her, she's gonna be like, see, I told you, look how he's
Your daddy
talking to
ain't
me. And
shit. Yeah. It's
uh,
it's I wish that we knew that we could be against patriarchy and misogyny and that recognize that men have done dastardly things that have made women unsafe for centuries and still call out toxic bitches. I wish we knew we could do both and that they don't have to be conflicting narratives. I think a lot of people feel like if they talk about toxic femininity, they're somehow absolving toxic masculinity, and that's not how that works. They both suck. They got toxic in the title. What do you guys think about this topic in general? Do you guys feel like it's a topic that our community in particular is ever going to fully address, or do you think we're going to be in the City Girls Up era for quite a while, acting like it's okay because niggas had it
I
coming?
don't think it'll ever end. You always have older men getting younger women, or older women getting younger. Like that's just something that's never gonna.
No,
It's
no, 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 no. The question.
unfortunately never gonna
Let
stop.
me rephrase the question. We know at least that older men doing it is wrong. I've yet to see us collectively admit that women doing it back is also wrong. Do you think we're going to get to a place where we feel like we can hold everybody accountable and not use misogyny as a reason to let women who are harmful fly under the radar? That's the question.
Do you want me to be honest?
Yeah.
No, not as a whole. No. You will always have two sides. There will always be those people that stand very firm in the, this is predatory, this is rape, this is, it's not right, essentially. And you
Mhm.
also have those people that will say, for whatever reason, why they feel it is acceptable, justifiable.
What do you think, Lou? Do you think we're ever going to get to a place where toxic femininity becomes something that we can have an honest conversation about, or do you think it's just going to be weaponized by misogynists and never taken seriously?
I don't know. I would like to think that we can all grow, but the funny thing to me is I feel like Drea, I feel like she gets dragged more than the men, in my opinion. Like, and I think she's
Mm.
getting dragged by women and men, like a lot. I think that the men being predatory is way more normalized because it happens more frequently, especially on a large scale. Like for the most part, older women are not dating men who are 20, 25 years
It's
younger than the same age as their son. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I think it doesn't happen. I don't see it that much. If you go ahead,
no,
give
no,
me
no,
three
no.
So,
examples
I
off
was
the top
gonna
of your head.
agree. I was gonna agree with you, Tasha, say that it's only normalized in men doing it
reality.
because it's been
Yeah.
going on since the beginning of time.
Mhm.
Like even in Color Purple wasn't what's the
Oh, you
name,
guys
much
pause, pause,
younger.
pause. You guys pause. We're doing it again. We're doing it again.
What?
We're doing it again. The question was, do you think we're ever going to be comfortable holding women accountable? And
Oh
we're bringing it
no,
right back to men again. We're doing
no,
it. We're doing it
not as a
again.
whole. Not as a whole. No.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Well,
Oh, that
I guess
sucks.
I was saying that I don't agree that Dre is being swept under the rug
No,
and
no, this is not about
men.
Drea. It's women. Women. Just said women, not Drea.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. I personally feel like women get dragged more than men more often. Or maybe men just don't care as much. I don't know.
For
Maybe I'm
being
biased
sexual
because I'm a woman.
predators? You think women get dragged for being sexual predators more than men?
I think that there's a few factors. Like I think that it's talked about less because I think
Yeah,
that less men come forward.
exactly.
And so but when it does happen, like I don't think that Dre is getting like less like um
No, no, no. This is
negative.
not about Drea. Sorry. Yeah, we have panned out
Okay,
past Drea.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess because she's like the only example I could think of. That's why I said name me three like famous couples where a woman was dating the same age as their son. I can't think of any.
All those
And
school
so that's why I
teachers.
keep going back to her.
All the
So
school
that's why I
teachers,
said somebody.
yeah.
She said
That's why I said
famous.
somebody famous.
Not
That's why I
school
said
teacher.
No,
somebody famous.
but that's the point. Though the point is, it's not talked about as much, and it's often swept under the
Mhm.
rug and used as a sensational Lifetime movie, and we don't take it seriously, and we laugh and cackle like it's funny. That's exactly the point.
Yes. So I don't think that because even like the one of the more famous teachers who ended up marrying her student, like she went to jail.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
She
what
went
was
to
that lady's
prison.
name?
And then came out and is living a full life with him and their 3 kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she
I
went
forgot
to
that
jail.
woman's
Mhm.
name. She
So
did go to jail.
like so I'm the point I'm trying to make was, and the reason why I keep saying Drea, I know you're saying pan out because she's the only famous couple that I can think of right in this moment. I don't think that women are being absolved from this. I think that it's not, I don't think that it's as reported as much for sure. And I don't think a lot of times it's not taken as seriously. But when something is happening, I feel like women are getting dragged. I personally don't think that now with the accountability overall with the in
The
general, I
stats say
do
otherwise,
kind of
yeah.
feel like I do think that the accountability thing gets a little shaky and that people will bring in toxic masculinity. But as far as a predatory thing is concerned, I think when it does happen and when people do report, I don't think that is getting swept under the rug. And I actually think, but again, I feel like it's very lopsided because I think that women report more often than men do. So that's probably why it's skewed. But I don't think that women are like being predators and it's being swept under the rug, in
So
my
do you know
opinion.
what group of women statistically tend to get away with it? The most attractive women. So the women who are usually held accountable are people who are power dynamics like a teacher, and actually they're not doing it because they're sexual predators because of their job. So it has nothing to do with gender. So those women that we're talking about is because they were teachers. So it's not because they were women or they're ugly. So attractive women tend to actually statistically get away with it even when it's reported. Because they're
Yeah, I
thinking
believe.
that there's no man who wouldn't want to. How can you get raped by a pretty girl?
Or and
Hmm.
then
It's
also
like,
I think that the boy it's confusing for young boys because they are attracted to her, but they also feel icky. And they're
Because
like,
they
this
didn't give
isn't
consent. Yeah.
necessarily, yeah, they didn't give consent, but they're like, oh, my boys would be like, this is great. Or if I tell one of them, they were like, oh, I would love to do that. If that was me, I would love it. Blah, 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 blah. So I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. I'm just saying that I don't think that women are, I think that people are still dragging them for being predators.
Hmm. Well, this has been a very riveting conversation. I want to take it to somewhere a little bit lighter. Cardi B.
I should have saved the sex swing story to close it out so we can end on a lighter note.
No,
Shit.
I think this is a very important conversation because attractive women who are sexual predators fuck up people's ability to be intellectually honest. There are very many things that I know for a fact would have happened differently in this conversation. Was it not Drea? Right? When we talk about Precious, the minute Monique's character was abusing Gabby Sidibe, everybody was repulsed in a way that you don't normally see when it's a female sexual predator. But she was a fat Black woman, so it's easy to see her as a monster. And there's been increasing conversation in academic spaces that pretty privilege is actually now being weaponized to hide predatory behavior. And we always make an excuse when it's a pretty girl who has a reason and a sob story, even if men don't get away with that. And they don't, statistically speaking, fuck feelings, right? So the stats say something very different. And I think that pattern is making me nervous that unless you're an ugly Black bitch or a teacher who has to be legally held accountable, women are actually not being held accountable if they're attractive.
That's kind of like, and I mean, it's again, trying to be, I guess, lighter on the topic.
Yeah.
Like that, it's a meme, like Latasha, we passed around a group chat where it has like the two different men, going back to men, the two different men. Like you have a Morris Chestnut and you have I hate the word ugly, but the ugly man, and it's like, oh, this is flirting. The Morris Chestnut is flirting, but the ugly man is considered harassment.
Stalking. Yeah,
It's literally, yeah, now they could say the exact same thing, but
exactly.
because of the way they look, and vice versa with women as well.
Yeah, it's a tricky topic because the people, this is what makes me nervous about this topic and the nuance that it takes to have it properly. There can be people who agree with me, not because they're being honest and compassionate, but because they're men who hate women. I need them to know I don't give a fuck about y'all. This is not for y'all, right? Then there can be people who agree with me because they've been abused and they felt stupid. And like finally somebody knows that Mrs. Johnson was a bad bitch, but she still raped me, right? Those are very small groups. Most people are going to find a way to quantify or justify this because of misogyny, not recognizing that this is misogyny to justify it though. Using abuse to justify abuse is a tenet of misogyny. It's in cursive, but it's all connected. And so it's always tricky how optics fuck us up mentally. It's like an optical illusion where if I changed Dre's appearance and her gender, suddenly we'd all be on the same page and it wouldn't be so hard. And so I think one of the things social media has done is it's making really hard for us to speak out about things that are normalized because the battle cries, but it's normal. It being normal doesn't make it less wrong. There's a lot of things that are normal that are hella fucked up. Speaking of which, Miley Cyrus's mom is allegedly dating her little sister's ex-boyfriend. The
And
question.
that's fucked up.
So this was the segue. The question is, if your mama was dating your ex, how would you feel? Who wants to go first?
Well, that's something I don't have to worry about. So I'll let you ladies answer.
Well, you know,
Why not? He can be bisexual.
right?
Bisexual men occur. No, Jeff, you go first. Actually,
I think y'all know very well the pattern of my ex. Ain't no women going over there.
Listen, he might be gay for pay.
You might get it. Mama Smith, come here. So you're saying, Jeffrey, how would you feel if your ex and your mama were engaged?
Engaged? Damn, not even just fucking. They engaged.
Can you Google it? Can you Google Miley Cyrus mama dating something?
Oh my God.
How would you feel
am I still out here single?
Why does that matter? Wait a minute.
Because if I'm happy and thriving and moving on.
You wouldn't care that your mama was dating your ex if you were happy and thriving.
Thank you. Next.
He's your daddy now. Now you gotta call him daddy for different reasons.
I don't have to see him. I have my mother's cell phone number. I can call her.
Wedding.
That is a wedding I would not attend. I can still speak to my mother. I don't have to speak to him. But I'm grown. I don't have to speak to you. I don't have to do anything I don't want to on the phone that I pay the bill for.
Look how serious Jeffrey got about his fake ex-boyfriend daddy-in-law. Did you see that, Lulu? He got real serious. I don't have to speak to him, and I don't have to come to the fucking wedding. Jeffrey, you know we made this up, right? Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry. My boundaries are just so wonderful, even to family and friends. I'm not doing... Listen, because ain't nobody supporting this lifestyle and this roof and over my head except for me. I don't have to engage in, speak with, or see anybody I don't want to. So y'all go ahead and let have and be happy.
What if your mama said, baby, I love you and I want you to be happy for us. Can you please come to the wedding?
No.
Oh my.
No.
I didn't realize that this man that Miley Cyrus' mom dated was he's like 54 and he was dating that young girl.
Oh, wow.
You're the one doing research. You tell us, friend. What you pick up? What you pull up?
Okay.
So then Miley's still him.
No,
his mama might have been
it's her little sister's ex.
Oh, it's not. Oh, see, we done threw Miley in it, child.
No, Miley's mother is dating the ex of her little sister.
Her little sister, but not Miley's ex.
Yeah.
Right, but I don't think that makes it any better.
Yeah. Lulu, how would you feel if your mama, your mama's fine. How would you feel if she and they just something happened with her and your daddy and she found love in a hopeless place with one of you and your siblings' exes?
I would take a serious issue with that. That would be very gross and disgusting. And
you wouldn't support her at all, even if she said that she found love in a hopeless place.
Would you try to talk her out of it?
Yes.
Really?
There's too many people. There's too many. Your mama?
It's for your mama.
This world is evil, and
yes, including this.
The sun is about to burn a hole in this earth, so we only here for a limited time. Everybody's trying to find.
So why can't you come to the wedding if that's the case?
Everybody's trying to find a little piece of happiness where they can, because your happiness is with that man, not me showing up to the wedding.
You're her son. She wants her baby there.
No. Oh yeah, she got two of us. So the youngest one might be there.
Wow. She said she got a spare. Jeffrey, your value system is so cursive. It's in cursive.
Value system,
do what you want. I'm not showing up.
You going to your ex's wedding?
I support you from across the street, bitch.
I ain't gonna even lie, say I support you. I would say,
damn,
you gonna do what you gonna do. As my mother, I can't tell you what to do. Have fun. I will not be there.
What if she asked for your blessing? What would you say? Jeffrey. Lulu, how would you feel about your mama if she would there be any version of you where you would pull a Jeff and be like, hey, I'll support it from a distance? Oh, damn, Lulu looked at me like she wanted to cut me.
I didn't even say I would support it from a distance. I don't want no parts.
No. There like somebody who had sexual relations with one of your children, you should not be having sexual relations with. Like there has to be some kind of boundary somewhere. There has to be like some kind of guardrails around some things. There are just too many people in the world. There are too many. Like for you to avoid the people who I or my siblings had sex with, that's hard. Like, girl.
It's way too many. But to Blue's point, if for whatever reason, all them other people got X'd out and she ended up with your ex, again, I ain't gonna stop you.
I will.
I'm not gonna stop you.
I'm stopping you.
How are you gonna stop a grown person from doing what they want to do?
I'm her beneficiary. I got access to all the accounts. I'm stopping payment on everything.
You a beneficiary, but if she's not proven incapable of making her own decisions,
ain't no way.
They could do it to Britney Spears. They could probably figure it out.
Ain't no way.
I seriously
no
just would not care. I seriously wouldn't. I would not.
You care.
I don't want any.
You not showing up means you care, Jeffrey. You can't say you don't care, not show up.
Yeah,
if
I
you
don't
didn't
want any
care, you
parts.
show up. Yeah, if you care, you still show up.
I don't want to put the energy into talking you out of it because I don't want to go back down a road or a place that I have moved on from. So
I feel like Lulu would poison somebody because when she quiet and she a Cancer, when she said no and got real quiet, I feel like that man should not take coffee from her. You thirsty, George? Would you like a cocktail?
Here you go, Mr. Charles.
Here you go, Mr. Charles, you little sly little horny dog motherfucker. You last question, speaking about toxic femininity, because this is an interesting topic that we don't talk about enough, and we don't talk about in a safe way where we don't forget misogyny is still real, y'all.
I'm a mama toxic, Jesus.
Jeffrey, I feel like your blood pressure spiked a little bit, so I have to bring it back down. My friend Bridget, I love her. Her podcast just ended recently. I'm gonna be doing some Patreon episodes with her, and the money I bring from Patreon, we can finally get back into the studio. And one of the things that we talked about on her show publicly before the Patreon was that she went through a very painful friendship breakup with her best friend. They talked about it on air for months, and now her co-host and her have split up, and her co-host is now cohorted with her best friend, hanging out with her god kids, taking her place. How would you feel if one of you lost a dear friend and one of your co-hosts kind of took your place after y'all fell out? Do you think there is a betrayal in that, or there's no honor amongst these once we fall out too?
You reading from a piece of my autobiography.
Oh, wow. 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 Oh, wait a minute. Wait, whoa. What did we step into? Please unpack that for me and the audience. Wait, what just happened?
Oh, Lord.
Unpack that, Jeffrey. Everybody got quiet. It's an audio program. Somebody say something. Say something, y'all. Explain for me in the audience.
Life.
Don't do that. Don't
twist and turns.
Don't be a fortune cookie. Explain to us what you were alluding to just now.
I mean, it's no secret for people that know me.
But the audience is just meeting you.
No, just unfortunately, a relationship did not work out, and just through that, and I think just me being who I am, and just really like, I laugh and joke and have a good time. I might say the wrong thing every now and then, but I think I'm a good person, at my core. And just a long relationship that ended, a lot of dear friends to that person are dear friends to me.
Still.
Present day. Not even like a, oh, you gotta choose. It's just very organic, very real friendships, like knowing just really great people and them knowing me as well. And it's just like, well, shit, we friends now.
So how does that feel knowing that that's happening?
Well, I'm not the person that lost a friend, so I don't know if I have a fair evaluation of that.
Okay. I just asked you how you felt, though. You can always talk about how you feel.
Because I feel like I was very much authentic and real and honest, and throughout the whole roller coaster, I feel fine. Like, it's just...
You weren't hurt at all by the split allegiances?
Is there any split allegiances? I don't think it's any.
Yes.
Well, he got all the friends, so he don't feel no way. But
oh, you're the one you took everybody. Okay, so you're the one who took. Okay, thank you, Lilo, because the audience. I'm trying to get the audience to know what's happening, Jeffrey. You're talking in code, so the audience is
I thought I said it.
No, okay. Lulu, what are your thoughts about this?
I would be hurt. And well, I feel like it's less about taking place and more like I had a friend who I had a falling out with a friend. And I felt like she was kind of purposely trying to make friends with people who I was close with or people around me. Like just kind of to still be in my orbit without like, direct contact, which I feel like is sinister in itself. So I feel like if I have a friend who's participating in that, then I mean, are we even really like that close? But like if they're close enough to me to know about the friend breakup, then I'm not telling you that you have to also make enemies, but I would be like, why she's known you all this time, why all of a sudden she want to be your friend? But if
Yeah.
it's just like this is somebody who I had beef with and we ended our friendship, then I kind of feel like I probably I wouldn't be as hurt. I'd probably be more hurt on the fact that we just broke up our friendship. And them getting together, that wouldn't hurt as much, but I would just be like,
Well, you know they're talking about you. I mean, they're bonding over the
of
fact that
course, yeah, they're absolutely 100%, 100%.
look at
So
Jeffrey's
I'm
face. He's
like,
like, I took everybody but Miss.
I mean, I didn't.
I
And
took your friends and fuck your
the thing is,
man.
I don't like to say I took them. The thing was, it
Do
wasn't
you
just
still
a
have
horrible.
them?
Yeah, I still have them, but it wasn't
In the divorce, you
but
got everybody in the divorce.
it wasn't just because of our relationship dissolving. It was just also things that you also kind of did to these people, which made yeah.
That is, I think it's hurtful. And here's the thing, I think it's hurtful, and if you are someone who moved in a way, like in Lulu's example, I fell out with somebody and then here you are cozying up to people. This feels funny and sinister. In Jeffrey's example, you being messy to me and everybody else, and we all peeped at the same time. So we all rolled out and they all came with me, right? Those are two very different things. But if I'm
exactly, yeah.
yeah, they're two different things. And I think it's fair to mention that. But if I was lovely and because I've actually taken most of the friends in divorces and friendships, because usually when I end a friendship, a relationship, romantic relationship, it's usually his or her friends who are saying, Blue, we didn't know this. He was a fuck nigga. We're coming with you. We're so sorry that we vouched for him. You know what I mean? But my thing is like when you are not the villain and two people who you loved, one of them who watched you cry about losing the other one are now cohorting together, there's nothing but nastiness in that. And to pretend that you're not a basis or a launch pad for their relationship is dishonest, right? Because you know they're bonding over their mutual disdain and salty feelings towards you. And so I think I think the theme of this conversation isn't just calling out toxic femininity without using misogyny as an excuse. It's also like, where is the compassion where we don't do things to people that we know that we would talk shit about if it was done to us? It's the hypocrisy for me. I think the theme through everything we talked about is we tend to make different rules depending on what suits us. And that is how we tend to get in these toxic conversations. If Draya and men and everybody all got the same smoke, to Lulu's earlier point, then we call everybody an asshole, right? But because men sometimes don't get it, now it's hard to point it out Jada at what's her name? Drea, because we're like, well, sometimes men don't get away with it, so why can't she get away with it? It becomes a slippery slope when the rules are constantly moving. And so one of the things I would task the audience and even the co-host is think about like, is my version of justifying this work in both directions, or do I only have this smoke going in one direction? Because I've been challenging myself to change that too for certain situations.
I'm trying to think. Other than that situation, I don't think I've ever been in a lose friends or break up with someone type situation.
Well, you didn't lose nobody in the situation. You took everybody.
No, I'm talking about others. Not that. No, that's the only. This is the only time that that's been, and that was a very special or specific.
Do you ever
situation.
sometimes sit with the hurt that he might feel despite the fact that he arguably earned the ire?
No.
Okay, that's fair.
You did it to yourself.
I don't have any further follow-up questions because that no was quick.
I didn't create this.
No, I don't have any follow-up questions.
I wanted to say one more thing before we get out of here. I think another reason why it's hard like to equally spread blame, like when it comes to predatory
responsibility,
behavior
not
and
blame.
manipulation.
Responsibility, not blame. Yeah.
A responsibility when it comes to manipulation and predatory behavior, because I feel like a lot of it is a case by case basis too, you know. And when I say case by case, like there are just so many different things and parts and power struggles, and it's just so much. So it's just hard to like blanket say this is absolutely wrong, da 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 da. Like, you know, it's just I don't know if I'm articulating myself very well, but I think that, and like that's like the hard part about people coming forward and telling their story and all this kind of stuff, because it's just like and people get in trouble because sometimes people lie, and then like now they're telling you like, oh, all women are lying about rape, or all, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, no, but maybe it was just this one person or whatever the case may be. Like, I don't know if it was like especially when the whole Me Too movement was really big, and there was that actor, that Indian actor, I can't recall his name, he's a comedian, and a woman came out
Aziz
saying
Ansari.
Yeah, Aziz.
Yes,
Aziz
and
Ansari,
and
yeah.
they she had a woman had came out saying that he had sexually assaulted her, and he came along. He was like, I thought all this whole thing that we were doing was consensual. And I mean, I wasn't there. I wasn't wrong. I mean, I wasn't wrong. I wasn't there, so I don't know like what, the way that it's going, but I don't know. Like I feel like there's a there's I feel like it could be misconstrued, especially because I think she like gave him head or something, and they didn't have sex, but she gave him head. So
it was a
I
bad
don't.
date where she was uncomfortable and didn't vocalize how uncomfortable she was and pretended she was okay with it.
Yeah, so I think
And
that
then
that can
later
be
said I felt
confusing.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think that that can possibly be confusing for men if you don't speak up or get out of or do something. You know what I'm saying? Like give some nonverbal cues, even like that you're not feeling it. So
Mm,
I don't know.
No,
that's very
I
specific
agree.
to the situation that I was in because it was a situation of like feeling uncomfortable. But for me, it was I can't speak for every situation. That Aziz, I'm sorry, I can't speak for it, but it was definitely just moments where I was asked, "Are you okay? Are you comfortable?" And I was asked more than once. And so for Jeffrey, I'm like, if I gotta ask somebody multiple times, "Are you comfortable?" Something to tell me you're not comfortable. And so that was a situation. Again, for me, it was definitely a power dynamic of like, oh, this person is, very public, high
Abuse of
profile.
power is about power dynamics and what's
Yeah, it
unsaid.
was
That's
definitely very
exactly the
much more
point.
about power dynamics. So
And I will
So
say
what
this,
is
guys, I want to point out just for the sake of clarifying all the nuances, the only thing that is blanket in men who come forward is the laughter and the resistance. There is no blanket statement about men being abused. The only blanket thing is the resistance and the knee-jerk reaction to either think it's a joke or say, but what about when niggas do it? That's the only thing that's blanket. Everything else actually is case by case because it's so rare. It's too rare to have any other blankets aside from disbelief and a little bit of uh, uh are you sure? Or ha ha ha, she's a baddie, right? And so I think the fact that when men are the ones who are abused, the first reaction is to laugh and think he must like it because his body reacted to it or the person's attractive. It's what creates spaces where when a Jeffrey happens to him, there's no landscape where it makes sense that he would push back and say, hey, I'm going to circle back and say I was uncomfortable because the conversation is, well, you a nigga and niggas like to fuck and they don't really have feelings around sex. Women have feelings around sex, but men don't, right? The blanket statements are the ones that are dismissive towards the potential victims, not dismissive towards the potential predators. I just want to be clear about that,
yeah,
about what's blanket and what's not.
yeah. I think the biggest thing
well,
for me, I'm sorry, Lou, real quick, just more so because again, for me, it's like, okay, I would internalize it, let it go, so whatever, whatever. I think the biggest thing for me is really understanding specifically women, those victims, because like we saw it in the Bill Cosby case, we saw it with Donald Trump and Eugene King. I forgot her. I'm sorry, I forgot her name. We've seen it time and time again where later, years later, these women come up and speak out and be like, well, why you wait 30, 40 years? Why you wait X amount of time? And my biggest fear from my situation has always been like, if another young person comes out and accuses this person of that and nobody
Yeah.
believes them, then that's where I feel like, do I got to step up to, it's that thought of, shoot, now I have to come out and explain my story with it. And people being like, well, Jeffrey, why didn't you bring it up? And it's just like, it's a thing of,
It's internalized shame.
I think when you get out of it
Yeah.
unscathed, both men and women, when you do get out, when you're lucky enough to get out of a situation where you were not at the physical part of the assault, you do kind of just want to just like let it go. I didn't.
Disassociate, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's gender neutral. The sad part is abuse is gender neutral. The only thing that is gendered is the way we talk about it. And women are,
the attacker.
yeah, the way we talk about it is the only thing that has, and what makes me sad is I feel compassion for anybody who's abused and their gender doesn't ever really matter to me, which is why, and this is part of the autism, because my brain doesn't differentiate based on gender, the inconsistencies are louder to me than the average person because of my neurodivergence. Someone was like, but no, we just talked about somebody else who was abused the same way and you didn't sound like that. Like, so I think it's a weird thing when you have a brain that doesn't allow you to have different thoughts based on identity. So if I hear something about a straight person or a gay person, my brain doesn't say it's different because it's straight or gay. To me, it's still a person. It's the same thing with men. And so the place where my brain goes off the most is when we're talking about abuse and it's a woman against a man, because all the conversation sounds so different. My brain starts to like go off like, no, this is not how you usually talk. Like, why is it so different now? Right. And I
well, I think
understand why now that people have explained it. You have something to say, Lou?
but also like even just besides I mean for the most part this is the reason for this, but for gender, like a lot of times with men, they're even though they're the ones being abused and manipulated, they're still usually, not all the time, but usually they're the one who's still more physically dominant. in the situation. So even if they are being abused by somebody, or they were manipulated, or they're in a place where they're uncomfortable, because they're physically, like, when I say physically not in danger, like they probably can overpower the woman and get out of there if they want to. I think that that's like another reason why people be like, well, did you try? Did you want to? How come? Blah, blah, blah. And so I think that that's like another reason why people try to be more dismissive towards that, which isn't fair, because like that's what I was trying to say. Like when I say the abuse looks different a lot of times, because sometimes women go along with stuff because they just don't want to get punched in the face. But
Well,
with
that's the
men,
thing.
that's not
That's a
always.
lack of education. No, but I like that you brought that up, because that's a lack of education about trauma. Trauma is flight, fight, freeze, or fawn. Freeze is what men do. So they actually physically can't. They freeze. But because we look at their size, if you're frozen, your size actually doesn't matter. When people are traumatized, particularly male victims, they tend to freeze up, and even though their dicks are getting hard because their bodies are responding. When Tyler Perry was abused and talked on Oprah, he said he felt dirty because his penis still got hard. And Oprah said, when I was abused, I got wet. Like, people often
Yeah, I
mistake their
mean,
body reacting and freezing. So you're thinking about a
no,
man of
sure.
sound mind, yeah. But when he freezes,
No,
his
no, no,
body
no.
size doesn't matter.
But I'm not saying that that's okay. I'm
Yeah, no,
saying
of
that
course, yeah.
that's what people think. And I think that women also freeze, like, because they're
Yeah,
probably like,
absolutely.
this is not something that I want to do, but I'm just so shocked that this is happening, and I have to do like this grandiose thing to get out of this situation. And to Jeff's point, he's like, I'm trying not to make a big deal. Is this really a problem? Am I tripping right now? Like, you're having all this stuff, so you're freezing because you're thinking about that. But the point I was trying to make, not saying that it's okay. I'm saying that the perception is, because you are still physically dominant, you are able to get out of the abuse just because of that. And I know that that is not necessarily the case.
No, but I'm happy you brought that up, though. It wasn't me counterbalancing it. It was me saying that's a great point, because guess who next to men more likely get attacked for that? Black women, because we're seen as masculine and big. So I actually had an abuse situation happen. I tried to tell somebody, they're like, "But you a big girl, you could have fought him off." I was told that directly to my face.
That's the dumbest thing that people say. But actually, I take that back. It was
Mm-hmm.
probably from someone who has never been in a situation.
Exactly.
So,
but that's how men are treated. You're a big nigga. Why couldn't you fight it off? You know what I mean? It's that same thinking.
And even it's people. That's why I always say you never know what you will do. Because even me, as someone who has heard, be it Terry Crews or some other male say they were sexually assaulted in some way, probably before I had my experience, probably did look at it as like, you a big nigga, you a man or something. Why? But you never know what you will do until you're put in a situation, is what I tell people a lot of times.
Yeah. All right. So we got to wrap up this show. I just want to thank you guys for having a very sensitive conversation. I'm going to make sure that I put a trigger warning on this. I also want to always thank you guys for being so rigorous about the back and forth, because the things that you guys are willing to even bring up these little points of nuance about how size and appearance matter. A lot of folks are scared to have this conversation. And I think what makes this trio special is that we go there, child.
The trigger warning is for the sex swing story.
Guys, you know what? As usual, you guys know you can find me.
I cannot be the first. I know it's got to be a support group of people who have fallen out of a sex swing.
Jeffrey, where can they find you and your sex swing recovery program? Where can they find you, Jeffrey?
Y'all can find me on all platforms: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook is still alive, but I don't use it. But everything's at Jeffro5.
And where can they find you, love?
You can find me on Instagram, Lou_Lou19.
You guys can always find me at Bluecentric. This has been a great episode. I actually think this is really important work. I think this conversation during Women's Month is really, really important. And I hope some toxic women out there who've made excuses might reconsider and realize that men are actually people too. Some of y'all want to end up with one, so be nice to them. All right, guys, this has been a great conversation. At some point, we're going to have a conversation about the live show, because I'm determined that there will be a live show sometime in the next month. There has to be. We need to be back in the studio. It's about time. And I found me a little bit of money, so we'll discuss. All right, love y'all. Until next time, bye.
Bye.
So good.